Hey, what's up guys? Alright, so it's 5:30 in the morning, Wednesday morning, and we have the leaks now for Black Clover chapter 343. And based on the summary I'm seeing on Twitter for this chapter, this, at the very least, the ending of this week's chapter is going to be intense. Like, this is going to be a huge cliffhanger that the bot is leaving us on, and I honestly cannot wait to talk about it. Anyway, let's just jump right into the leaks, and as always, I'm getting the leaks from Twitter, and they're courtesy of Night Baron and Diab. So if you want to be able to keep up with all the leaks coming out for Black Clover, definitely give these two a follow. Okay, so the title of the chapter is going to be Black on Black, obviously referencing Ichika's armor she activated in the last chapter and Asta's reunion, and my cat who won't leave me alone while I'm trying to record this. Now, according to our two leakers, the majority of this chapter is focusing on the fight between Asta and Ichika, which, yeah, I mean, based on the way the last chapter ended, I think we all kind of figured the entire chapter would be focusing solely on their fight, and the ending would kind of resolve it somewhat. Now, what I do find interesting is that apparently in the very beginning of the chapter, Asta immediately goes into his devil union, which once we actually get to see the fight between the two of them play out, will finally put to bed the argument that's been going on since him and Ichika's first training session. Because if you remember, during their last fight, Ichika completely wiped the floor of Asta without him being able to land even a single solid hit on her. And at the end of that fight, and it was different in each translation, but pretty much it came down to him saying at the end of his fight that even if he was in his devil union, he wouldn't have stood a chance against her. And regardless of what translation you read, that last statement from Asta really pissed off a majority of the fandom, because after that chapter, we had the entire fandom arguing online. In fact, even to this day, they're still arguing whether or not Ichika was at a level where she could beat Devil Union Asta, which would mean that just by using Yorioku, she's at the same level as 50% Lucifero or even above that. And yeah, over these past few weeks, it's just been going back and forth between fans arguing whether or not she actually is that strong or she's not that strong. And I feel like after we get to chapter, we actually get to see Asta in his Devil Union, obviously not his true Devil Union, but his base Devil Union, fighting against Ichika in her dark armor. I feel like this chapter is going to finally put to bed whether or not she actually is at that level. Now, unfortunately, the leakers don't go into too much detail about how exactly the fight plays out. The only real detail we end up getting is that apparently Ichika uses a brand new dark Yojutsu move called Dark Star, and she gives us more detail about how Dark Yorioku works, which is basically that it only really works with taijutsu, hand-to-hand combat, and swordplay, which we all kind of figured based on Yami's fighting style already. Now, that being said, we do end up getting two tidbits of interesting information about the fight from the leaks. Number one, as we already knew, Ichika went to the fight angry at Yami for what he did when they were kids, and at Asta for defending him when she told him the story. And Asta can clearly feel her anger from her ki during their fight, but he actually ends up sensing that there's something more to it than just her being angry with them. And I think we all can kind of figure out, just based on the context clues about her past story from the flashback in the last chapter, exactly why she's not just angry but also upset and jealous. I think it's pretty obvious based on the flashback we saw in the last chapter that deep down Ichika knows that her dad and possibly the rest of her clan besides her and Yami were not good people, which means that there had to be a good reason why Yami killed off the entirety of their clan besides the two of them. So I think what it comes down to is that the reason why she's really angry with him is not because he killed off their clan, but because he ended up disappearing for the last 13 plus years. I mean, we saw in the flashback exactly how attached to Yami Ichika was when they were kids, so the fact that he, after that tragic event of his entire clan and their family being killed off, just disappeared for the past 13 plus years, and as far as she's aware, been living it up a free and easy life in a completely different country, definitely is going to upset her. And then on top of that, Asta sitting right here in front of her, the guy who, as far as she's concerned, took her spot next to Yami, and obviously she's going to end up being jealous of the fact that he spent years with him that she didn't get to. So yeah, when Asta says that he senses more than just anger in her ki, I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to, and it's going to even be more clear for us readers once we actually get her and Yami reunited and she ends up finding out the true story of what happened back then. Now, the second little bit of interesting information that we get about their fight is that apparently during it, Asta figures out exactly what his style of Zen is going to be and actually goes to use it against Ichika at the very end of the fight when they're both actually throwing out their final moves, but we don't get to see it because they end up getting interrupted by Ryu, who shows up at the last second to stop them. And once the fight's over, Asta says that he loses because he couldn't use his Zen, and he's going to need some time to perfect it, so without that, he doesn't stand a chance of defeating Ichika. So I hope this kind of puts to bed the whole argument of whether or not Ichika's stronger than Asta in his Devil Union, because even in this chapter, he's admitting that without using Zen, without mastering his version of Zen, he can't beat her. Anyway, we end up finding out that the reason why Ryu stopped their training session was because he sensed three extremely powerful people come to the Land of the Sun, and those people end up being Sister Lilly and two other paladins. Oh, and by the way, one of the paladins is fucking Heath, who we haven't seen since like chapter 9 when he killed himself, so we're going to figure out exactly how he came back to life and how he ended up becoming a paladin. And the other paladin kinda looks like Rechi, but I don't think it's actually him because he doesn't have that scar over his eye. But yeah guys, this is crazy. Sister Lilly and two other paladins showing up at the Land of Sun before Asta even gets to finish his training. I honestly did not see that coming. I figured that we wouldn't be seeing them until Asta goes back into the Clover Kingdom, or until the very least when we switch perspectives back over there near the end of Asta's training after he meets the last few members of the Reason 7. So the fact that they're showing up here, I wonder what's going to end up happening. I'm guessing that at least one of the last 3 members of the Reason 7 we haven't been introduced to just yet, possibly the strongest member of their team, will end up showing up and basically just pushing back Sister Lilly and the other 2 paladins and making them retreat. But anyway guys, those are all the leaks that we have for this week's chapter so far as I'm recording this video. I'm going to wait until I actually do the review to try to figure out exactly how Sister Lilly and the other paladins ended up getting to the Land of the Sun. But anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the leaks in the comment section down below. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.